Hello, my name is Leslie Feinzaig, and I believe that all kids should experience entrepreneurship so that all kids can have a more equal chance at becoming tomorrow's leaders. For 2 years of my life, I stood up on stages and started my pitch with those lines in front of hundreds of investors when I bet on myself and took a leap and started a company. I had moved to America about 20 years ago now, inspired by the American dream, and made it my life's mission to make entrepreneurship more accessible to more people. I believe that entrepreneurship is the most important engine of job creation in society. And it's a path to financial independence and maybe upward mobility, which I find very important in this room in particular, and for all women. And in an increasingly uncertain world and job market, I believe that the most important skill you need to have is the ability to fall on your 2 feet. And that's what I tried. I was pregnant with my oldest daughter, and I left my job and started a company, and it failed. And so I stand here today as a failed entrepreneur. I'm here to tell you it's cool. Nothing happened. I survived. Key thing, don't mortgage your house for your idea. But what happened was that as I was out trying to raise capital for that company, I also started this little meetup of other women who were also starting companies at the same time that I was. And so as my company failed, that little meetup became the largest community of venture-backed female founders in America, the Female Founders Alliance. And for years, my team and I spent our time helping women get their businesses off the ground by the thousands. And when it came time for the second pregnancy, I had my second crazy idea and decided to raise my own venture capital fund. And that is Graham and Walker. Graham and Walker today, Julie, this slide is for you. Graham and Walker today is a nationally recognized pre-seed and seed fund anchored by very famous people like Reid Hoffman, Emerson Collective, a whole bunch of founders, CEOs, and executives of companies that you've heard of. And we invest in pre-consensus founders, primarily women. And while on the surface, the name sounds formal and expensive, in reality, it's named after the first female CEO of a Fortune 500 company and the first woman self-made millionaire. My mission is to change the face of entrepreneurship so that one day, when my girls graduate from college, when they walk into that job fair, if there's still job fairs in 10 years, the companies that are in that job fair are the ones that I invest in today. And by the way, my kids are actually here today. You guys are being so good, so quiet. Just like 10 more minutes, okay? Okay, listen, it is really weird to stand up here and talk about myself in this way, all right, to like do the hype and like tell you the big story, because inside I am just Dora and Ruth's mom. You know, life happens to me on a daily basis. I'm a mess half the time, at least. And I feel like, you know, I understand that stories like this can be inspirational, but I also think that they can be a little inaccessible or intimidating, because usually the stories about betting on yourself that get told are the really, really, really big ones, the ones that get the book deal, right? And these stories are extremely important because I want Dora and Rick to see more female leaders do this, and I really want more of you to get on that stage and ring that bell with your own company. I do. But I also know that for every unicorn founder, there are thousands of entrepreneurs who are succeeding every single day. This room is full of them. The only difference between you and her is that one day she bet on herself, and the next day she bet on herself again, and the next day, and the next day, and the next day. And so they invited me here today to convince you to do that. But please don't quit your jobs yet, okay? All right. And I can hear the objections already in your heads, like, oh, but I don't have an idea, and like it's too hard, I don't know how to do it, and I don't have the money, I don't have what it takes. And so I'm going to do something that salespeople do called objection handling. I learned this, I'm not a salesperson. I'm going to tackle your objections one by one, okay? Okay. So let's start with the idea. Because for a lot of people, this is like the paralyzing part. They think that they need the perfect idea. So I'm going to give you some ideas of like, where do you find them, okay? I'm going to start with people who build a company or a side gig or a project off of their own experience. It's my friend Shauna Swerland. Some of you might know her. Shauna, is she here? I don't think she's here. She spent 25 years as an executive recruiter in other people's companies, and then one day decided to do it on her own. And today, Fuel Talent, for many years, it's been listed as the Puget Sound Business Journal's most fastest growing businesses, I believe. And every day, they help Seattle's hottest startups to connect with the best local talent. Some people have a problem and they solve their own problem with their company. This is my friend, Vanessa Laughlin. Is she here? You're up there because you inspire me. When her family went through a harrowingly difficult journey when her father-in-law passed away, she realized that when you go through life's toughest moments, you need a specific kind of help that is really hard to find. And so she started a company called Bannister Advisors. She started it by helping just 3 people, word of mouth. And today, her team offers concierge support to 80 families per month to guide them through life's hardest challenges. And then some people have the more traditional find a market gap. This is a story of, I'm going to mispronounce your name, I apologize, Christy Lord and Lindsay Droz, who are here today as well. Where are you? Oh, right there. All right, so these two had the aha moment. I actually don't know when. I imagine it in my head as though they're walking down a grocery store and then they realize that the beauty aisle is just like packed with innovation and like pretty packaging and ingredients and like scents. And the home aisle, it's like 1950 in there. Nothing has changed. And so they started a company called Levant Collective, a luxury plant-based home care brand that doesn't ask you to choose between great products, safe ingredients, and really pretty packaging. That looks great in my bathroom. And ideas are everywhere. You have them today. Start writing them down. Start talking about them. Because if you keep them, that conversation they had about who gets to take credit, if you keep it in your head, it's never going to get any better. And you're never going to discover if you're actually really passionate about it. Like, you need to be really passionate about something to talk about it over and over and over and over again. Trust me. Until your husband is like, please shut up. He doesn't do that. And a lot of entrepreneurs that I come across are like really scared of talking about their idea because they think that somebody's going to copy it. All right. Don't worry about it. I evaluate something like 2,000 companies a year, and I am here to tell you with love and kindness that your idea is not special. Truly, what's special is you. It's what you do about it. It's the execution, which conveniently is objection number 2. Execution. I have no idea how to do this thing. How do I start? And so I'm going to tell you the story of my friend Eleanor Mack. Eleanor is in California, and she's another one of those founders that had this aha moment. When her daughter was about 2.5 years old, she started playing with dolls. And so Eleanor went to the toy store and tried to buy a doll for her that looked like her, except she could not find one. She could not find a single Asian American doll that was not cartoonish, that was not kind of like painted afterthought. And so she decided to build one. Except Eleanor had never in her life built any kind of product, let alone a doll. She did not know about design or manufacturing or sales. She didn't know a single person in the toy industry. Do you know what she did? You want to know how she started? She Googled it. She Googled, how do you build a doll? How do you make a doll? And she started talking to people and she started getting help, and her network started to connect her with the right people who could help her get it off the ground. And she will be the first to tell you that she's made a ton of mistakes and that it's been really hard, et cetera, et cetera. But last year, 1,000 families welcomed a Jilly Bing doll into their homes. Imagine all those little boys and girls feeling represented by their own toys. No founder has all the answers the day that they start. Literally, the only thing we have in common is a commitment to figuring it out. And you can do that too. So maybe you have your idea, you Googled how to do it, you figured it out, and then the next objection is capital. And I'm a provider of capital, and I will be the first to acknowledge that this part is really, really hard. Okay? There's loans, small business loans, private loans, but you're not going to get those unless you already have revenue. There's grants, extremely competitive, really hard to get. There's angel investors and venture capital. They're not actually right for the vast majority of businesses. You should not raise it. For most of us, it's just not right. And even when it is, again, my firm, we see 2,000 companies a year. Last year we made 6 investments. And that's actually not rare at all. It's just extremely difficult to find capital. And so I can't solve that for you. I promise you I'm trying. What I can tell you is that there is one type of capital that you can find that is the best money any entrepreneur can find their way to, and that is your customers' dollars, your revenue. It's the healthiest form of capital. For a lot of us who are entrepreneurs, or if you've ever built something, you may have already learned the lesson that like the building part, the ideation part, like the kind of putting it all together, that's really fun. And like in our heads, it's this perfect thing. And obviously everybody's going to get it. And like they're just going to buy it in spades. And then you try to sell the thing and it's actually really, really, really hard. And so if you take away one lesson from the next story is to sell the product before you build the product. Find your way to revenue. So the next entrepreneur that I want to tell you about is a special one, because this is my baby sister. This is Lizzie. She had a knack for baking our whole lives, no formal training. She went to school for design, did photography on the side. She had a job running social media for some retail brands in Costa Rica, where we're from, where she is today. And she wanted to start a business. She wanted to start a baking business. And so she started just baking for the family. And she tested ideas and recipes, and she would take pictures of them and make kind of beautiful social media, started building her presence around it. And then she started making these like assorted boxes of macarons. They were delicious, you guys, seriously, so good. She's so talented. And she would sell them once a week. She would tell all her friends, I have like 20 boxes of macarons, come and get them. And then the word started spreading. And slowly she built her social media presence. She built her customer base. She built her menu. And she built the ability to grow her business to the point where she is the primary breadwinner in that family. To this day, she runs that company from her kitchen in her home, having never taken a penny of outside capital. Over the years, she's baked more than 5,000 special occasion cakes, hundreds of catering jobs, and hundreds of thousands of small baked goods. I'm really proud of her. I'm going to send her this video. I have had the honor in my life to be a witness to Lizzie's story and so many other entrepreneurs like Vanessa and Christy and Lindsay and Shauna and Eleanor and all of my portfolio and hundreds or thousands of founders in our community. And I can be the first to tell you that none of this is easy. I don't want to pretend that like it's all kind of fun and games over here. It's actually really, really, really hard. Lizzie will be the first to tell you how incredibly difficult it is to feed her family off of spiky revenue. There's weeks when there's very few sales, and that's really scary when you have mouths to feed. right? If she takes vacation, there's no revenue at all. Lindsay of Levant said her hardest lesson is that running a business means that it never stops. It follows you everywhere. To dinner, it's in the shower, it's at your kids' recital, on stage at the PSBJ. Never turn it off. And I myself can tell you how hard it is to keep going when the initial excitement wears out. I cannot tell you how many times I almost quit. As recently as last week. Like, this stuff is hard, truly. It's hard. It's lonely. But it's worth it. And the thing that I have learned is that you don't quit when it gets hard. You quit when it stops being worth your time. Betting on yourself means not waiting for someone to tell you what to do and not asking for permission to do it. It's the difference between letting life happen to you and writing your own future. It's the difference between wondering what you're capable of and actually finding out. And I think you might be surprised that you can do a lot more than you believe. And honestly, unless you're born rich, and if you are, God love you, but unless you're born rich, entrepreneurship is the only path I know to living life on your own terms, to owning not just your financial security, but also your time. How do you spend your time? Who do you choose to work with? And for some people, that looks like starting a business or like a side gig, or maybe it's you start a newsletter and build your online following, or maybe you get really serious about your art and try to sell it. And the stories that get told are the ones with massive commercial success, and those are important, but they're not the only version of success. Success is not the big fundraise. It's not the huge valuation or the big award or the press or standing on this side of the microphone. Success is building the workplace that you wish you had worked at and hiring the very best people that you want to spend your time with. Success is finding your products in stores all over America and in the fanciest, nicest bathrooms in all of Seattle. Seriously, go look. Like, if you go to a suite somewhere, I promise you. It's helping families by the hundreds to navigate their absolute worst times with confidence and dignity, or giving thousands of little girls the gift of representation, or being a part of the most special moments in hundreds of families' lives, and seeing your customers' children grow up, one beautiful, delicious birthday cake at a time. You get to choose how you spend your life. And so I'll just end with my favorite poem. You tell me, what is it you plan to do with your one wild and precious life? Thank you.